I want to start by telling a story. It's 2019 and I'm on my way to Colombia. I'd never been to Colombia before. I'd never been to South America before. I was obviously very excited. I was on my way down there to film a TV show. One of my favorite things I get to do when I travel for work is my time away from work, when I get to bring my own camera and take my own images and kind of catalog my life. In our first couple of days of filming in Medellin, we stopped down for a lunch break at one of our locations, which was an industrial area of the city, and it was filled full of mechanics and auto body shops, that sort of thing. I noticed across the street there was a really interesting motorcycle shop, and there was this mechanic working on a bike right in the center of the shop, and he had awesome tungsten lighting overhead, and there was a very cool mixture of blue and green tile that colored the space in a super unique way. It was something I wanted to photograph. So I hustle over to our production vehicle and I grab my large Dakine photo bag and I throw it on my back. I run back over to the front of this shop. I plop down the camera bag. I pull out a Canon 5D Mark III with what I believe was a 24 to 70mm lens on it. I pull the camera up to take a shot. I look through the viewfinder and sure enough, this gentleman is looking directly at me with a big smile on his face. He stopped doing whatever he was doing. I pull the camera down, I look to the side of me. There's two more gentlemen there staring at me, wondering what this guy's doing with his big camera. I pull the camera back up to my face, hopefully thinking that this guy will eventually forget about me and what I'm doing, and sure enough, he's yelling behind me to call his family out to the front of the shop so they can all stare and look at me. Now, everyone was being super friendly, but not only did I ruin the moment, I kind of in a way became the moment, which if your goal is to document life, is not a good thing. And this continued for 3 weeks. No matter where I was or what I was doing, every time I pulled out that camera, it was like a tractor beam for everyone's attention, staring directly at me, wondering what the hell I was doing. Production eventually stopped down for a week and we all got to go home. And when I got home, I was on an absolute mission to get a camera that wouldn't be such an attention grabber. Now, I want to make it really clear, this is not meant to throw any shade on the Canon 5D. The Canon 5D is a phenomenal camera, and I have done horrible things to them. I've left them overnight on frozen rivers in the Arctic. I've left them on beaches to get sandblasted overnight in Africa. I have dropped them out of trucks. I've mounted them to the side of vehicles, and they always survive. The Canon 5D is like a tank or like a Hummer. It was built to be durable and tough and gritty, and that's what it is. Nothing about it is subtle or sleek. And for the first time ever, I was looking for something that was more subtle and sleek and wasn't such a big beast. So I went to my local camera shop with a list of priorities I had never had before when buying a camera. I was after something that was small and easy to pack with me and fun to use. I quickly landed on the FUJIFILM X100F, which at the time I knew nothing about, and it wasn't the social media darling that it is now. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I kind of bought it before it was cool. I returned to Colombia later that week and everything changed. Not only was the camera not destroying every moment that I brought it out, but I was actually shooting more because of how easy it was just to pack around with me everywhere. Ever since then, this has become my daily tool to document my life and catalog moments of inspiration. To quickly review the specs of this bad boy, it has a 24 megapixel sensor, the equivalent of a 35mm lens with an aperture of f2 to 16, a 3-inch screen on the back, a viewfinder with both EVF and rangefinder modes, tactile dials for shutter speed, exposure compensation, as well as 2 customizable dials. It shoots to a single SD card slot, and most importantly, it weighs around 1 pound and is roughly around the same size as your cell phone, which is this camera's greatest strength. You know, whenever you leave the house, you check to make sure you have your phone, your wallet, and your keys. Well, ever since I've had this camera, that checklist has really become phone, wallet, keys, camera. And that's the beauty of having a camera like this. You're gonna wanna take it with you, and it's not going to be a big production to do so. You're just gonna throw it in your coat pocket and away you go. If you're anything like me, you're constantly inspired by moments in everyday life, and you want to capture them. Moments like this. A photo I took of my friend Paul while we were filming in Alaska. All we had was a children's ATV to move our equipment around, so I composed it this way because it reminded me of something you'd see in a Wes Anderson film. Or a moment like this of my friend Adam while we were looking for takeout in Vermont, which was inspired by the Blade Runner 2049 film. I saw this scene while at work one day and it reminded me a lot of some of the frames from No Country for Old Men. I whipped over on the side of the highway for this shot. It looked like a scene straight out of one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Breaking Bad. There's nothing worse than being out in your everyday life and seeing a beautiful moment or an interesting composition and not having the right tool to capture it. It always feels like such a missed opportunity. Having a proper camera with you everywhere you go to catalog and document these daily moments of inspiration is something that every storyteller or filmmaker should consider. For me, that camera's become the FUJIFILM X100F, and I encourage all of you to go out and find a camera that makes you want to take it with you, that becomes your daily driver for cataloging these moments of inspiration throughout your life. In 5 to 6 years, you'll be able to look back on all these small moments you've cataloged like I am now, and they'll paint the large picture of what your life is like and what inspires you. Anyways, if you have a camera that has become your daily driver that you don't leave the house without, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.